So Child Protective Services started harassing me then. So we now have the council reporting me to Child Protective Services, having admitted in court that the amount they're charging me is wrong, and coming up with terrible lies. Now, I know it was them because the Child Protective Services basically said it was them. And she said, yes, apparently you've sent a letter saying blah, blah, blah. And she read out everything that I had put in my letter to the council and the magistrates and the enforcement agencies, a caution notice and a vulnerable person report. And she read it all out line for line. Now, that information had only been sent on Monday morning to the council and the magistrates. No one else in my world or life knew any of that. And what I'd put in there was that I was looking at health options abroad as private and alternative to the NHS, because I've not got good NHS care in this country. It's been horrendous. And this is true. But I don't have to be abroad all the time to do that. And you know me, I was in Bulgaria the other week for work, kicking off a big global project. I've worked globally and gone abroad on and off all my twins' life. But when I'm not in the UK, they have another parent. It's called their father. So get this. I sent a link to the council, the CEOs, the directors, the magistrates and everyone. I said, here's a link to their father's website. He's a partner in a law firm. When I'm abroad, he is in charge of his children. I'm not their only parent. So if you think they are being mistreated in any way, please contact him or report him to CPS, because when I'm not in the UK, they're not my concern. They're not my responsibility, so to speak. That will shut them up, because they're bullies. They come after this sick and injured single mom. They wouldn't go after a partner in a law firm, would they? They don't know me. They have no idea who I am. They don't know where I am or what I'm doing. So to say I'm not feeding my children and I've abandoned them while I go abroad is terrible. So I said to and before I tell you what I said to CPS, the next day after they'd reported me to Child Protection Services, they sent me a letter summoning me to court again for a lesser amount than last time in March, admitting by default, by doing that the amount was incorrect. However, it's still incorrect, because all they've done now is removed what I paid last year. What they haven't done is reimburse the amounts for when I was on benefits or my single adult discount that I'm entitled to as the only person over the age of 16 in this home. So it's still incorrect. But the fact that they've used my children, threatening me with my children to try and extort more money out of me than I owe, and I'm not going to pay them a penny now anyway, and I'll come back to that in a moment. I will pay my way, but the inflated council prices are outrageous. Anyway, I said to Child Protective Services, who I've never spoke to before, even my ex-husband has never reported me to CPS. No one's ever reported me to CPS. It's absolutely incredible. I've lived on nannies, au pairs, him. One great thing about being divorced is you've got constant free babysitter with the other person, right? So my kids are not neglected. Underfeeding them, let's address that one. Underfeeding them. My son is a bodybuilder. He's like Dwayne Johnson now. So you only have to look at him to see he's not malnourished. So there's no evidence. Also, my twins are 16 soon. In a few weeks, they're 16 years old. They are more than capable of telling anybody from CPS or the council, oh yeah, I'm well fed, or I'm starving, she's a terrible mom. And actually, they call me a terrible mom regularly, like any teenagers, but seriously. As for going abroad, plane tickets and stuff like that can prove that. And they do have another UK-based parent down the road who can look after them. But actually, if they're not staying at their dad's, they'll be staying at a friend's or their girlfriend's or their boyfriend's or whatever, because they're nearly 16. We are not talking about babies here, you know. And I said to CPS, actually, if I took them to the other countries with me when I'm working, which nobody I work with ever does, they all have children and nobody brings their children to work. I said, so it's just not the done deal. This is a really pointless conversation. That's what childcare is and the other parent is for. I said, so when I work abroad, like I did in Belgium in April, I think it was, I said, nobody takes their children with them. When I go abroad, looking at where I'm going to rent and live and buy, or where I'm going to get house care, or whatever I choose to do, is nobody's business. And it would actually be neglectful of me to take my children with me right now, because they're both doing their GCSEs. So they are working round the clock, finishing coursework, revising for the next exam, and they've got 2 months of hell to go through, doing exam after exam after exam. So I can't take them carting off anywhere with me, whatever I'm doing. They need stability. They are locked away like little cave bears in their bedrooms, with their heads in their computers and books and phones, studying for these exams, because they both really care about their exams. They both really want to do well. They're both ambitious, and they're doing great at school, even though they're neglected and not fed. So there you go. You don't have to feed your children, guys, because mine are doing great and they're growing anyway. Sorry, that's sarcasm. I just think it is despicable that council has called CPS on me. So I explained to CPS that this is a malicious threat and attempt to extort money out of me and put pressure on me. But the thing is, and this is what I've got to say this to you, you have to be careful, because everyone's asking me, what do I do? I don't know. I'm learning. There are loads of people offering templates, and they're going to get you into trouble, because the council, they are vicious. As I'm explaining to you, they've reported me to CPS. They don't even know me, but this is an act of bullying. This is threatening behaviour, and it's malicious. To report a single mom who nearly died, is trying to heal and recover, go back to work, get back on her feet, to CPS, and have the risk of people coming round to my house, questioning or dragging my kids out of the house at a time when they're doing their GCSEs, is absolutely disgusting. So we have to be really careful with these people. So if you want to take them on, they will threaten, they will bully, and they will go to lengths you didn't think possible. But from what I see, it is empty. It is just nasty behaviour. So if they come to your door for council tax, unlike other criminal debts, they can't break in. They can't come into your house. You don't have to let them in. They won't give up. They'll be nasty like the council has been to me. But they can't really do anything. So you just say, bugger off. You know, they can't do anything. If they try to attach it to your earnings, if you're self-employed, you can tell them to bugger off. You have to agree it with your boss, or say to your boss, I'm disputing it. No, don't do that, or I will quit. Your boss has the right to say no. If they go to Universal Credit are in their pocket and will do anything for them, just like the magistrates. They enable these people. They enable the nastiness. So if you're renting, because they'll try to attach it to your house, your mortgage company will probably kiss their butt and agree and accept too. But again, you can fight it and argue. Do you want that? Do you want the hassle of that? I've chosen to do the hassle of it because they're actually adding extra money on to me. It's not just that I fell behind. It's the fact that they're being nasty and trying to see what they can get out of me before I leave the UK. So not having anything now. And I've sent them a letter of intent. I'm suing them now for 11 months of loss of earnings, which is way more than they're trying to get out of me. And I am going to take them to court, because I am diabetic, and the stress is actively physically harming me, because stress injures me more than anything I eat. People see diabetes as a lifestyle thing, but it isn't. It's a hormone imbalance. I've had PCOS, endometriosis, anemia, menopause, diabetes, Cushing's disease. All of it is hormonal imbalances. My hormones have always been a mess. So is my mom's, my aunt's, my sister's, everybody's. So that CPS, they're dealt with, and they have no power over me even there, because my kids are nearly 16. Their dad's a lawyer. If anyone was going to say I was a terrible mom and I didn't feed them and I neglected them, he would be right there really fast, because, you know, he don't like me that much anymore. You'd think I was the one who had the affair, not the other way around. So he's not going to pretend I'm a nice mom if I'm not. So they can't do anything about it. But it was concerning that they might come to the house and disrupt my kids at a time when they need to be studying and not have any stress. And the fact that our councils are willing to do this, engage in this behaviour, is despicable. So, yeah, now I'm assuming the enforcement agent is on hold because I've got a new court summons later this month that I'm not going to bother going to because I can't talk. So it's not really a court summons, there's no point going. So I assume that whilst they're doing that, the enforcement agent is on hold until after that, and then they'll give me a court order for the wrong amount, and then we'll go through the same process again. But throughout all of this, they have not professionally replied in any way since the March court summons liability thing. All they've done is responded to my emails in 2 ways. 3 ways. 1, ignoring me. 2, reporting me to CPS for ridiculous, unsustainable claims. And 3, sent me another court summons. Oh, no, sorry, 4. And sent an enforcement agent after me. They are just trying to break me down and force me to pay. This is extortion. And I don't do bullies. I'm going to have to do a part 3.